In this video, I'm going to help you overcome one of the most frustrating situations a dog trainer can get into when they're selling. And that is when the person that you're talking to needs to go speak to a spouse. So you might be sitting there, done a great job selling and gone through your sales process and talked all about how great your programs are or whatever your offer is. And the person is ready to buy. They're okay with the price. All they have to do is go home and just ask their spouse, because that's how a lot of families are. You find a couple days later, you get a message and everything falls through. And why? Because the person you spoke to, who was so excited to sign up, they went home, they told their husband and wife, they met with the dog trainer. Dog trainer's great, so nice. They're so excited about it. And then their husband or wife or partner said, so how much is it? And they said, oh, it's $2,000. And that was the end of it. They made that decision only because of just hearing the price. And they thought it was expensive. The spouse or partner never got to hear about all the amazing benefits of your program. They never got to meet you. They never got to hear about all the features in your programs. They never got to see any results. All they heard is dog trainer, really nice, and it was expensive, and everything falls apart. And that's a real shame. But there are a few things you can do to avoid the situation and try to get some of those spouses who would have been no's and turn them into yeses. So in the video, I'm going to give you two really practical tips that you can apply that have really helped a lot of dog trainers in this situation. And even if you can just get like 1 or 2, 3 clients a month that you would have lost, it's so worth putting the effort into doing this. So what happened with us, we lived in an area in Pennsylvania where in the winter, there was a lot of bad weather, and a lot of times people couldn't get to us to do our consultations. So we would try and try and try. And if enough time went by, we decided, you know what, we're never going to get to meet with this person. Maybe they're too far away or they're too busy. Just to give them something, we're going to make a video of our sales process about our programs and our offers. I will send them the video. We would get some people to sign up by doing that. And if we didn't do that, we would have never met with them and we would have definitely lost them. So it would just capture some of the people we would have lost anyway. So it's not ideal. You'd love to meet with them in person, but it just wasn't possible. So it was like the last worst case scenario, and you still get a few people. So what would happen is we noticed this problem happening with the absent spouse situation, where everything seemed to be going so well and then it would fall apart. So the first thing you need to do, and this might be obvious, is you need to try to get all the people who are involved in the decision making with the dog and the training with the dog there at the consultation. That's what we would try to do. So when you schedule it, you need to make sure that they know this, that everyone who's going to be there, who's going to be involved in the training, needs to be there for the consultation. And a good way to do it is to frame it as a benefit for them, so that it would be good for them if this situation was like that, if everybody was there. Now, even if you do that and you try really hard, there are situations where they're just not going to show up. Like even if they say, oh yeah, everyone will be there, they might show up and they're not there, or you might have a Zoom consult and the person is sick, and it's just going to happen like that. So even if you try to require it, it's not always going to work out. Now, the spouse is never going to be as good as you are at explaining what you do and selling. They're not trained in sales. And you put a lot of effort into learning how to sell and talk about what you do, talk about your training methods and the benefits of your programs. So you'll never be able to explain to them how to do it as well as you can do it. So there's really two things you can do. You can give them some kind of a written document that's an outline of all the most important things that you would want the spouse to know about your program. So it's kind of like a condensed version of your sales conversation. So that's one way. You just give them some kind of a physical handout and you could explain to them what you want them to do. And you could even, it depends on the person, but if you really have a rapport with them, you can explain and say, you know, I know you're really excited to start. But what often happens is when the person goes home and they share this with their husband or wife, they didn't get to see the demonstration and all the amazing things. And, you know, sometimes they're not as excited about it as you are because you were here and you got to meet me and see all this. So if you just are pretty upfront with it, depending on the person, that can be helpful too, because it'll motivate them to want to talk up how nice you were and how great you were, along with the sheet that you give them that just outlines all the key parts about the benefits of your programs and your services. Now, what's even better than that is if you make a video of yourself kind of going through the sales process and talking again about all the most important things about your services. And you can just send a link to them that they can click on. It can be a video. They click on the link, they watch the video. The person you met with already has the program sheets and your prices and everything. So they already have that. So it'll just be all the things that you wish that you could have told them if they were there to meet with you in person. Now, this isn't going to work all the time. And what's best is that they're both there in person. But if you do this, you will definitely have a higher chance of getting that sign up compared to if the person just goes home and just says the price, because that often results in the person flaking out and not signing up. So those are the two things you can do. Try to make sure that they're both there during your Zoom consult, in person, whatever it is, and create those documents, a video, so that they can see it. Now, another tip on this is somebody calls you on the phone, and the very first time you speak to them, you do the consultation with them and tell them everything about your services right there on the spot. It's extremely unlikely that the spouse will be there because usually only one person is making the phone call. So what we recommend is when the person calls you and you have that initial contact, you schedule the consultation out into the future so that everybody can be there, because they're not going to be there right in that initial time. It's just going to be the one person. So you might be thinking, well, I got them on the phone now. Now's the best chance. I'm going to go through everything on that first contact with them. And what often works better is if you schedule it out into the future. So there's a designated time for it and you can have everybody there. And then you will run into this issue as much with the spouse objecting after the initial spouse says yes.